The UFC talent pool is deeper than it has ever been, but somehow we still have a lack of star powers in comparison to previous generations. Now, if you see on my screen here, nothing but stars, all potential GOATs. You got Khabib, GSP, McGregor, and Jones. These guys are all stars, legends of the game. But no longer do we see people like this. We have people like Pereira. They tried to do something with Sean O'Malley once there. They try to work on Hamzat, Islam Makhachev, and they do have some star power. They pull big numbers, but nothing will ever compare to what these men and the people of their area were able to do for us. They transcended the sport. It felt worldwide. And I've kind of noticed this over the years that it's mainly the UFC's fault that we don't have star powers. They're not doing as much as they used to, and I figured we go ahead and break that down in today's video. But before we jump in, I want to take a moment to ask if you like my content to like and subscribe, as well as share. It helps me out tremendously, and I guess we'll go ahead and jump in. Like I said before, we had some crazy stars. Conor McGregor, the star of the UFC, the most known guy, probably how I got into the UFC, and probably how a lot of people before and after me have gotten into the UFC watching it. He himself at one point held all spots in the top 5 selling pay-per-views of all time. Now, I believe Pereira's up there at this point because Pereira is a really big star. But McGregor was just one of a bunch. I mean, you saw UFC 229, Khabib versus McGregor. The build-up for that was insane. The beef, Conor throwing the dolly at the bus. You'll never see anything like that again. Him disrespecting Abdulmanap Nurmagomedov, talking about whiskey, Khabib, spitting on him, not letting up the tap, and Herb having to crank him off. There will be no build-up, no release of a fight like that ever again for us as UFC fans. The hype was something different. The hype that the UFC put behind it was something else. They don't do that as much anymore. We even see other people like Ronda Rousey. She was at the top of the game. You had Joe Rogan and Prime Joe Rogan podcast talking about how she could beat Floyd Mayweather in a boxing fight. It was ridiculous. Looking back on it, Ronda Rousey was nothing then. She lost to, I believe it was she beat Tate twice. She lost to Holm as well as Nunes, and that kind of dropped her career down into the WWE. But I mean, before this, we had some killer stars who brought in crazy numbers. Like I said, Jones, Rousey, McGregor, the list keeps going. You had Anderson Silva in the mix at one point. I mean, he was bringing in crazy numbers with his title streak. Demetrius Johnson, I understand the flyweight division wasn't getting much love then, but looking back, that's some of the greatest runs we've seen and the most star power of 125 we've seen. Pantoja doesn't even get the respect that he deserves. They might not even give him an immediate rematch against Vaughn, even though he's already in training, ready to fight. So it's really insane here. Also, they used to do promo so much better than what they do now. Now you get Dana just on his phone. They used to do stuff like this. Just insane stuff. I'm not gonna play the whole thing because you know exactly how hype this is. This gives you goosebumps. They got high quality film walking up. They're shooting movies about these fights. They're doing what boxing does with the Better Be Evan Beevil fight. They're doing promo. They're hyping up the fight. They're making the stakes show on the line what's going on and get the fans involved. Now, like I said, you just get Dana on his phone just announcing things, just casually talking about the biggest names in the sport. He even mentions McGregor in this video. I'll just let Dana take it away. He's responding to a fan asking what news we were going to get, I believe, in 2024.
Talked about Conor today, too. We got Conor news coming up. We got Oliveira news coming up. We got Chandler news coming up. We got Max Holloway news coming up. All that good shit coming soon.
All that good shit coming soon. That is all that the president of the UFC has to say about some of the biggest, if not the biggest names in the sport at the time that he made this video. He's talking about guys like Conor McGregor in 2024, but that's when the Michael Chandler rivalry was still semi-fresh. That fight was looking to be made. You got Volk in the mix, Oliveira, Holloway. These were big things happening in early 2024, and Dana's announcing all of it on his little flip phone, and he never has quality this good. It's always even worse than this. It's like a Samsung Galaxy S10. It's just pathetic. And the UFC doesn't do promos like they do anymore where they film these crazy videos. With the Darren Till and Jorge Masvidal fight, they did a sit-down face-to-face interview. Boxing does that every other week. The UFC saw how good that was and said, yeah, we're not doing it. They did it with Darren Till versus Masvidal. They did it with TJ Dillashaw and Dominic Cruz. That was great. Dillashaw getting mad, like, I'm done talking to you. And Dominic, you're not done talking to me. You're right here, dummy. That was great for us as fans. I still go back and watch those highlights and laugh at it because it gets you hyped for the fight. There's bad blood. There's beef. Nowadays, it's just talk on Twitter, maybe a small altercation, but the UFC lets all of that happen. They do none of it on their own to promote it. We even saw it with upcoming gyms, the Fighting Nerds. That was an entirely fan-based movement. We pushed them. We made edits. We made memes about them. The UFC did nothing besides slap their name on it and call it a day. So it's really pathetic by them to be doing this. And while we do have modern people that bring in good things, as well as this terrible level of promotion, a bag of milk.
Bag of milk! so it's something Canadians drink.
This is the level of promotion we're doing. This was for JDM versus Bilal Muhammad UFC 310, UFC 310, which also had 310, 315, which also had some other really good fights on it. And they're doing promotion going, what is it? Is it a bag of milk? What is this? Why are cage fighters doing stupid shit like this? This is TikTok level promo. Nobody should be doing this. They should be doing highlight reels of JDM's nasty finishes, Bilal's relentless pressure, other people on the card. But no, they're doing bag of milk promos. It's just laughable at how they think this is a good idea. And I think that that's the driving factor as to why we're not having stars, because we have stars. We have potential stars. Pereira has honestly transcended the UFC. He's a worldwide phenomenon. The amount of people who talk to me about Pereira doing the meme, doing the Kabi lame on Uncle Live after he beat him on Jamal Hill and Yuri. Pereira's transcended it, but that's pretty much fan-driven and on his own promo because he's pretty good at it. But with other names like Volkanovski, potential 145 GOAT, Charles Oliveira, he has a huge fan base behind him after his title run. And Tom Aspinall before this fight, because we all thought he got shifted in the Jones situation. And we got tired of Jones. Jones, obviously, his star died out of it, but he's still going. The guys from the previous era still have hype. McGregor still gets millions of likes on a tweet saying he's coming back when he never will. So we still have the quality, if not deeper, a deeper bag of quality champions, quality names that we can push behind and get bigger promo. But the UFC doesn't want to do it. They're too lazy. They sell their brand just going, hey, we're the UFC. We know you're going to buy this. It's got our 3 letters on it. But that's not fun anymore. As fans, we want to see these hype intros. We want to see these build-ups. We want to see these seated interviews where they're facing each other, and it's just not happening. I mean, like Pereira, like I said, he had broken into the top 5 now. In fact, he's 2 of the top 4 gates. UFC 300, which granted that was the 300th card, so you can't exactly attribute that to just his name value. But for him to headline that versus Hill bringing in 16.5 million dollars, it's absolutely insane. He is a star and he does his own promo, but the UFC does little to nothing. All they do is give him a little Latina named Nita Drama who shakes her ass and they get views. It's not fun for the fans anymore. It's fun for the gooners. It's fun for the casual viewer who think it's cool that Pereira's with a hot chick because he's doing it every other week and now he's with Cortez. But Pereira versus Prohaska, the rematch where he switch head kicked him in the beginning of the second round after almost KOing him in the first, was insane. They could have done so much marketing for that fight. Yuri had built himself back up. It got a win off that. It's just sad how it goes. And we've had other guys too that have just fallen flat. Sean O'Malley. I remember when I was first getting into the UFC, I was like, I want to buy some merch. And Sean had released, I think, a 14-0 shirt before he even lost to Cheeto. And I bought that. I was hyped for O'Malley. He was the next big thing. He was the next Conor. He had good striking. He had met Conor. They had done videos together. And then they went and just cherry-picked his opponents his way to the top. He got a really good win over Aljamain Sterling, and I don't think he won over Peter Yan, but he had a crazy build to the title right there after the few wins that he was given. And then he got a cherry-picked title defense against Cheeto Vera when Corey Sandhagen or other people should have been worthy contenders. And it showed when he fought Merab. He fell flat on his face, and the lack of promo behind him from the UFC, like at a genuine level, caused us to all go, yeah, he's not good. Whereas before we'd probably be like, he's good, but Merab's just that much better. If there was such a build-up to this fight, if there was so much weight for it, we'd still think Sean was maybe a top guy. And he could be with a win over Song Yadong coming up soon, but now O'Malley's nowhere near the star power that he could have achieved had he had some promo behind him when he got his championship wins. I mean, the win over Aljamain and Peter were huge, but they didn't transcend the sport as much as they should have if they did, like if they were back in 2010s, like these other guys previously. And it's just sad, and I'll show you this photo here that kind of summarizes my whole point of this video. We used to have this. You're looking at one of the potential heavyweight goats here, Cain Velasquez. You're looking at not the heavyweight goat, but a great light heavyweight, potentially the light heavyweight goat if you don't include steroids, John Jones. You have the potential matchup here between 2 of the goats, the longest win streak of all time. I think Anderson Silva, one of the greatest to do it, never tested positive, GSP, got his only 2 losses back in blood, double champ. Frankie Edgar, Jose Aldo, Dominic Cruz. Look at this panel. We don't get this anymore. We don't get this many faces and names and legacies in a room. And the UFC as well, you see the promo behind this, Bud Light? The cage used to be decorated in anything that they were sponsored by. The fighters used to be able to wear, their sponsorships on their shorts. It added character to the UFC. Their promo, the freedom of the fighter. And now, it's all corporate. The UFC slaps whatever people that Dana White's friends with at the casino's logo on the ground. He'll slap a Happy Dad on the ground because he's cool with the Nelk Boys and he'll give him $300,000 as a gift, but won't give a fight night bonus to like a debuting fighter who absolutely deserves it. The UFC just doesn't put the promo behind the fighters that they have anymore just because they know that their name's going to sell. And I guess from a corporate level, they're saving margins, profit. But from a fan level, it's despicable to see that we used to have things like this. like the movies. There's so many more examples, but I just keep going back to this because you know how this went. You saw McGregor on his press tour before the Aldo fight in the club in Brazil saying he owned it, and he came back in horseback and he rips the paper up and chews the photo of Jose Aldo. We don't see crazy shit like that anymore. And I, as an MMA fan, I'm so heartbroken to see that now every time a fight announced, it's just Dana's fat head on his phone going, "We got this fight. Pereira versus Aspinall. Yeah." When Jones retired, he hopped on his phone and said, "John Jones retired, Tom Aspinall, heavyweight champion of the world." Just nonchalant, didn't care. They could have done a whole promo about how Tom was chasing Jones and Jones ran off, and now that builds up Tom for the heavyweight legacy and throws away Jones, because if Jones leaves, now you have a hole in the heavyweight division when people go, the champ isn't really the champ unless they fought Jones, but Jones has disgraced himself to the sport. I'm rambling here, but again, we used to just have it so good. We used to have good promo. They used to take every name they could and squeeze every ounce of hype out of it. Now, it feels like they let the name do itself and whatever the fans want to do. When's the last time you heard of a genuine O'Malley fan? They've all been run through by Marab fans trolling him. Like, nobody sticks around anymore. It's a sad era as fans that we have to admit is coming to an end, and I don't really know what to do. I don't know if we'll see an out of this with Dana and how he runs the company now. There really is no backpedaling for any company. But I just wanted to make this video and talk about why the UFC has lost its ability to make star power. Not out of the fact that something external has happened, not out of the fact that the fighters are boring or the fights are boring. The talent pool is deeper than ever. The skill set is deeper than ever. The personalities are there. We had it with Strickland. The UFC did not promote Strickland because he was so edgy, but we called him Deshaun Strickland. We posted him beating up Neon and who else? What's his freaking face? Sneeko. Like, there was hype there, but it was all fan driven. It was all Instagram driven. UFC did nothing to promote it. So it's just a sad era we live in, and the UFC's really lost its ability to make star power, and as a fan, it's just heartbreaking to see. And I really hope one day we can get back to the former glory days of just having names, value, being genuine and not, cherry picking opponents and no build up. O'Malley and Vera had a lot to say to each other after their first fight because O'Malley kept saying it didn't count because it was a perennial nerve kick. But in the build up to this, we had some face-to-face, some little chirpy moments. We didn't have a sit-down interview where Cheeto's like, "I'm going to smash your fucking face." And man's like, "Yeah, bud? You going to do it, bud?" I'm going to shut up here. If you enjoyed, like, comment, share, subscribe. I hope y'all enjoy my video that's coming up before this with the Paramount deal. See ya.